Ciao ragazzi, welcome paisanos back to another episode of Calcio Culture. I am your host today, Calcio Motts. I'm the only host today as both my co-hosts are out enjoying the last couple of weekends of summer. They are out of the office. Today is going to be a slightly different episode than normal. I'm going to be taking you through how Juventus can line up now that the transfer window is officially over. That means all the lineups are set until at least January. Juventus obviously had a very busy deadline day, losing out on Kolo Muani. Obviously, I expressed my frustrations there, but they did bring in two prolific attackers in Luis Openda and Zakharova from Lille. So excited to take you guys through the lineups that I think that Tudor can use with these players. Before I jump into the lineups today, want to say to all the paisanos out there, please follow, like, subscribe. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, on anywhere you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Please subscribe, like, rate us 5 stars. It does help the podcast grow and us reach more and more people. So really appreciate that for you guys liking and subscribing. But back to the episode. Going to do something a little bit different today. Today, I will be sharing my screen to go through the lineups that Juventus has played under Tudor since he started last season, since he took over for Motts, and continued into the Club World Cup, along with the short season of the Serie A, the 2 games we've seen Tudor manage so far this season. So we're going to take you through that lineup, and then I'm going to suggest 2 potential lineups that I would love to see Tudor use with the new new players that he's brought in. I think there's a real chance for an opportunity to change the formation to allow these players to maximize their potential, to score goals, to continue to win games, and to keep Tudor's principles of high press, high attacking, scoring goals. So I'm very excited to go through that because obviously Juventus is up top is very full, right? So the $1 million question is, how are we going to fit all of these players in one season? Before I get into it, I do want to just mention one more thing about Tudor, that what I've seen from him since he took over the Juventus job, and that he has shown that he's shown 2 things. One, he is simplifying the game a lot. I mentioned this on a couple episodes back, a lot like Ranieri did for Roma. He is just playing the players where in their preferred positions. He sat down with every single player. He asked them where they want to play, and he plays them in those positions. We've seen Yildiz take a ginormous step under the Tudor system by doing that. We've seen Coop Miners start to slowly see some of that old Atalanta form, playing him further away from goal rather than in the 10 spot. So excited to see what he can bring to the new players as well. But the second thing is going to be flexibility. He's very open to flexibility. He's open to change. And we've seen firsthand last year under Antonio Conte's Napoli, the flexibility that they had and what that allowed Napoli to do. And it was, at the end of the day, win the Scudetto. So it's going to take flexibility, I think, in today's football or in today's world to win trophies. You cannot be set in your ways. This is my formation. This is how I play. I won't bend or break from it. You need to be flexible, which I've seen Tudor be, and I've heard that he is as he's trying different formations in training. So very excited for that. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen. So for all you video watchers, this will be a fun episode. We obviously have our video on Spotify and YouTube as well. If you do listen through Apple Podcasts, I believe we have video up there as well. So if you're listening any other way, on this episode, go to Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts in order to follow along with me. Let me share my screen. So like I said, what we're going to do today is I'm going to take you through the lineup that we've seen Tudor play so far with the 2 games in the Serie A and the Club World Cup. And this would be what that lineup has looked like, okay, in the Serie A. It has Jonathan David starting. It's a 3-4-2-1. Let me take a step back. 3-4-2-1 with Jonathan David at the number 9. He's been playing Chico Conceição at the right wing, right offensive mid with Yildiz. And then Thuram and Locatelli as a pairing in the midfield with Cambiaso and Kalulu, who has struggled a little bit at the right wing back with Gatti, Bremer, and Kelly at the center back positions. Speaking on Kelly really quickly, he has had a decent start to the season, although Juventus haven't played the most prolific teams in the Serie A, but I do say I will respect what he's been doing in the last couple of games. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, Juventus brought in 2 extra attacking players that is going to really fill out their front 3 and give them a lot of flexibility and give Tudor a lot of choices that he has to make game in and game out on who he's playing and where he's playing them. So the bench lineup looks like this. We have Dusan Vlahovic, who has started the season hot with 2 goals off the bench, and he scored today for Serbia. We obviously brought in these 2 players on deadline day, Luis Openda and Zagrova. Luis Openda is coming from the Bundesliga from Leipzig. He is one of 5 players to have 50-plus goals and assist contributions in the last 2 years. So he brings a lot of firepower. He's lightning quick and he really wants to run behind and is a very, very good finisher. So it was a very strong ad here. And then Zagrova is a one-on-one machine. He wants to take you on, beat you, progress the ball, put the ball in the box, cut in on his left foot and curl it in. So another strong addition in Zagrova from Lille by Juventus on deadline day. Another addition was João Mario, who we've seen have a very good start to his Juventus career when we look at him going forward. Obviously, defensively, he is lacking a little bit, but we'll have to see how he grows that part of the game under Tudor. You have Gatti, who's basically a starter. Him and Kalulu really rotate just for the sake of this. Or actually, I did have him starting here. But then you have Rugani, who stayed at Juventus, Perin. Juan Cabal, who I want people to keep an eye out this year. He's by far our most ball progressive center back. He tore his ACL 8 games into the season last year. But I do believe when he comes back, he can play left center back. He can play left wing back. He's great on the ball, very athletic. So a player to watch as well. Kostic, we know Tudor really likes. Listen, as a substitute, he's fine. I'll take him. Weston McKennie's kind of the Swiss Army knife, can play center mid, can play wing back, either side, can play behind the striker at the number 10. So we have a lot of versatility in these players and these lineups. So that is a plus for Tudor, right? But that does leave a lot of questions on who he can play where. Now, going back to the starting lineup, what I would say right away is now that we added Zagrova, he should take Chico Conceição's starting position. Conceição is a great player. However, he struggles with his decision making. So, being that I would bring him in as a substitute, as a super sub, bringing in Conceição with his lightning quickness and his mindset of him wanting to take on every guy that he goes up against is great for a substitute going up against tired legs. But the lack of quality decision making in the final third, to me, is the reason why Conceição should be a bench player and allow him to grow and improve and get better. Zagrova is one of the best decision makers on the ball we saw in the French league. So I think from the start, he needs to be placed into the starting lineup if we deploy this 3-4-2-1. Okay. Now, obviously, Luis Openda can play as a number 9. He could play behind as a vice Yildiz as well. So you can see Openda here. You can see Vlahovic here. You can see Openda or Yildiz. Openda can also play off the right, which is extremely makes him extremely versatile as well. But that's the formation that you can probably expect Tudor to run out because of this 3-4-2-1. With that said, what I want to get into is 2 formations that I think Juventus can very much benefit from if Tudor deploys it with the players that he has at his disposal. And the first one is going to be this 3-4-1-2. If we're going to play a 3-4-1-2, Yildiz is our number 10. There's nobody else that can really play this position on the team. Maybe Zagrova, but it should be Yildiz's all day, every day, no questions asked. Okay. And then allowing the 2-man strikers up front, Jonathan David and Luis Openda to play off of each other. Now, this formation, what this allows Tudor to do is be completely fluid at the front three. So Yildiz can float out to the left, take his normal position right around here. David can drop in. Luis Openda can move straight here. So now it's back to the 3-4-2-1 formation, right? Or if you want, Tudor can drop Openda back to the right, move David up, and then it's the 3-4-2-1 as well. Also, what can happen here is Luis Openda loves to make those run in behind the defenders, while Jonathan David is more drop in, come to the ball. So while Jonathan David comes in and drops to the ball, allowing Thuram and Locatelli a little bit more passing lanes, Openda can then make that run behind the defense, allowing for Jonathan David to play him in, Locatelli to play him in, Thuram to play him in. So it just gives a lot of versatility there. And in-game tactics that allowed Tudor to switch up how they're playing or the formation they are running based on the game that is, or what's happening in the game, right? Maybe they're playing a low block and you can't really run in behind. Openda comes up here to the ball more, or Jonathan David comes up. So just a lot of versatility that this will allow Juventus to have. Okay. The next formation that I think they should run is going to be a 4-2-2-2. Now, this is going to be an extremely offensive formation. So I think you can only deploy this at certain times and against certain sides, right? Like, I don't think that Juventus or Tudor should run this out during a Champions League game when you're playing against a Manchester City or a team with a lot of strong attackers, because this is a very offensive formation. Okay. But what it allows Juventus and Tudor to do is get all of our best attacking players on the pitch at once. You have Locatelli and Thuram as the two-man midfield, Zagrova and Yildiz as the offensive mids, and then both Jonathan David and Openda. And so then what this also can allow you to do is when you're on the ball, change the formation as well. Now, what that would look like is Cambiaso, if you watch him play, he is never really usually at the left back position. He can play as the center mid. He can go up as a left wing. So on the ball, I think what this can turn to would look like this, and it would be a 3-2-4-1. Now, you could say it could look like, you could say what it could look like is Bremer could tuck in here, Cambiaso back here, and then it's a 4-2-3-1. The reason why I'm not the biggest fan of that is because Juventus played that formation under Motts all season long, and it didn't get the best out from Yildiz. Yildiz also, his international team plays a 3-4-2-1, and Yildiz plays that left offensive mid position, and he's not as productive as he is when he's on Juventus in the 3-4-2-1 formation. So I want to keep Yildiz in closer to the middle of the field as the number 10 or an inside forward here. I think that's how you get the most out of Yildiz. Jonathan David, same thing with Canada. He likes to drop in, come to the ball. Well, like I mentioned before, Luis Openda likes to make runs in and behind the defense. So that allows you to do that. It also allows Thuram to be a box-to-box guy. He can get up and join the attack this way. We've talked about how strong this triangle is in terms of Cambiaso, Yildiz, and Thuram in and around the box. It allows them to continue to be around the box and allows for overloads, right? And then obviously this is going to be a very offensive formation. However, when they lose the ball, they're able to drop back into a 4-4-2, which is obviously a very hard formation to break down. And what it also allows you to do is have Zagrova, Openda, Jonathan David, and Yildiz all on the pitch pressing, which we know Tudor loves to deploy a high line and full press almost the entire game to win the ball back high up the pitch to try to create chances. So You have four of your four best attackers on the pitch, your four best pressers on the pitch. You still have two great midfielders, and you're still very strong defensively with Bremer, Gatti, and Kalulu in the back. So these are all the formations I think can work with this squad. You can obviously plug and play a lot of players in these formations, right? Obviously, Vlahovic can play at the 10 spot. If you put Vlahovic in, you can drop Openda in the Jonathan David spot here, or you can leave Jonathan David there. In the 3-4-1-2, you could play with Openda and Vlahovic. You could play with David and Vlahovic up top as well. You can throw Coop Miners in the two-man midfield anywhere here. You can have Cabal over here for Kelly, Gatti or Kalulu, Kostic or Cambiaso. The only one area where we're kind of not extremely deep is going to be the right wing back position. But as I mentioned, we have the Swiss Army knife, or in this case, the American Army knife, Weston McKennie, who can play the right wing back, can play the left wing back. Cambiaso is one of, if not the most two-footed players in the league, who can also play the right wing back. And then we can play Kostic at the left wing back. So there's plenty of versatility for Tudor under these lineups and these teams. And now it's going to be, how does he make them all mesh? How does he get the most potential out of everybody? How can he continue to play his style of football and win games, as that's the most important thing for Juventus, and hopefully be challenging for the Scudetto at the end of the season. So listen, that was the breakdown of how Juventus could line up under Tudor. Obviously, we'll have to see if he's going to stick with his 3-4-2-1, if he's going to listen to Calcio Culture, deploy a 3-4-1-2, or even get super, super attacking and go to a 4-2-2-2 formation with this attacking team. What I will say is I'm very excited for this team. They have went all out on the attacking side of the ball. So I'm expecting to see goals galore for this Juventus side, but time will tell how everybody works and meshes under Tudor and how Juventus will line up and where they'll finish come the end of the season. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm going to try to do a couple more of these. I would love to do a Milan one next, as they have had a lot of changes and turnover in the transfer window. I'd love to have Logan on that one as well, as obviously he's the Milan fan. And then hopefully we can try to do a couple more of these as well. Coming soon is going to be Calcio Culture's season standings or projections on where we think everybody will finish in terms of the Scudetto. So keep an eye out for that, and then keep an eye out for a couple more of these lineup episodes. Thank you guys for listening. As always, do not be a gagoots, and Forza Calcio Culture.